So hi, I'm Els Dragt, and I'm an explorer of the future. And when I tell people that I'm exploring the future and looking for the next and the new, many think that this is my main tool. So that I'm like every day gazing into my crystal ball, intuitively feeling what the future might be. But actually, it's not very new to think about the future. It's something that we as humans have been doing since our existence. Probably some of you were also thinking about something in the future today, like when will be the coffee break, or what will be the weather, what kind of clothing should I wear, or maybe you were thinking, should I switch my jobs? So thinking about the future is not limited to people with some kind of superpower or something. I like to use a method that I call trend research, and to me the core of this method is to research and look for signs of change in the now, in the present, because they are happening already, all these changes, to explore possible futures. So as you can see, I highlighted possible and futures, because to me there's not one future, there are many futures. And what we are doing today will define which kind of direction or corner the future will take. I also wrote a book about it. It's called How to Research Trends, to help you to do it yourself. So I really like to demystify this whole world of trend watching or trend forecasting and show you that by doing some simple activities, you can also integrate this type of research in your own job or maybe your personal life. So crucial now is that it's not about predicting, but about exploring. So I heard a lot of predictions already the last couple of hours, but to me I feel like nobody can predict the future. If you know someone, please let me know, but I've never found someone who can give me a 100% guarantee what our lives will look like in the next 10 years. So to me it's much more important to think about that you're exploring what might happen, what might be the next and the new. It will also open up your mind much more than when you feel pressured to predict and to be right. Maybe do a search query and type in predictions gone wrong. You will find many, many examples, more than right. What I like to do, and the type of question I keep in the back of my mind all the time is what if? This really helps to open up your thinking. So what if, for instance, all this AI kind of technology will invade our daily lifestyles? What will our lives look like in the future? But on the other hand, maybe there will be a counter trend or a counter movement, and data will be scarce because people will be saying, I don't want to be tracked anymore. I will keep my data to myself, or I will go offline all the time. What if this will happen? What will be our future lifestyle? So exploring all kinds of possible directions, and this will help you to be prepared for multiple futures. Or maybe you can get inspired to create your preferred future. You might say, like, I want to go in that direction. What can you do today to make it happen? The way that I look at trends and future is from a very human angle. So I'm not a technological expert or something. To me, it's not so much about all these gadgets and hypes that are happening. It's not about the 3D printer or the 4D printer. It's much more about why we as people would want to use it. What kind of unmet need or value shifts does it explain? So it's like a deeper level of insight than just looking on the surface of technologies. The way that I like to do trend research is actually very straightforward, and it's not rocket science. Anybody can do it. And it's actually, again, three things: scan, analyze, and apply. So we need to find signs of change, so we have to scan our environment. We then have to understand why these changes are happening from a human's perspective, analyze. And then a specific challenge comes in mind. Maybe you're working on a specific project or topic or anything else, and you can focus and apply these trend insights to your job or personal life. So I will give you more insight into each of the phases and give you some tips and tricks on how you can execute them yourself. Looking into scanning. for me, I like to call it the art of looking sideways. So I don't have a specific focus in mind. I look cross industries, I look cross borders, I look international, national, doesn't really matter. Well, only thing that I want to know is what is changing, what is happening, what kind of new and exciting things are happening. So it's a very broad scope, and it's maybe different from most market research or UX research projects, which already have a kind of scope or focus when they start out. But if you want to, explore in a very broad way, look sideways. Maybe the only focus that I have is that I look for specific people. So for me, it's very interesting to find these change makers. So people who create innovations and understand why they were creating these. Or people who would embrace these innovations as the first ones. Or maybe be the first ones to reject it. So maybe you know about this adoption of innovation curve by Rogers, very old theory, but I feel it's still relevant. And it shows you how adoption of innovation moves throughout certain groups in society. So my focus is mainly on the first front runners, the people who are really like the first ones to create change. They can be academics, they can be entrepreneurs, they can be designers, they can be artists, anyone who has a vision on what the future might be, or they want something to change, is interesting for my type of research. It doesn't mean that you don't have to take notice of the other groups, but this is mainly the focus for market research or maybe the regular UX research. And you can maybe compare your results, trend research versus UX research in your main target groups, and see how far removed these groups still are. When I do my scanning, I also do triangulation, or I combine a lot of different activities. So yeah, I do desk research, I look for numbers, but I'm also reading a lot of magazines, newspapers. I do not have a subscription on any of those because I like to switch them all the time. This will also help you to broaden up your scope. Never take subscriptions, switch all the time. Using podcasts, reading novels, science fiction kind of stories, can all help you to broaden your view on the future. But I feel the main added value is mainly in doing field research. So that's really going out and looking for where these people are that create change. What are they doing? Where can I find them? Going to upcoming neighborhoods, to new locations, interesting festivals and conferences, and really take in all the information. And this never stops, actually. It's like ongoing. So when I knew I was coming over here, I already started to do my desk research. So I was looking like, what is happening in Istanbul when I'm here and where I maybe can find information for change. So I would like to invite you maybe to join me tonight around 7 p.m. There will be an opening of Bang Art Innovation Prix. And I don't know, but on the internet it says like young designers showcasing interesting projects on the intersection of art and technology. So if you want to join me, please let me know after my talk, and maybe we can share a cab and do some field research and find some new signs of change tonight. Or maybe this one also seemed interesting. Beaumontiada, maybe you know about it, I don't know, but maybe I will visit it tomorrow night or on Saturday to see, like, it seems like a creative hub or something, to see what's going on over there and if I can find some interesting people to talk to. So that's about scanning. Then you've all gathered all that information, you've found all these signs and manifestations of change. Now you have to connect the dots and find what they are really meaning. What are these signs telling you? What kind of story do they unfold? And I'd like to do this in a very analog way. So really printing out all my evidence, so to say, and create evidence walls. And then with other people, look at everything we found and see, like, can we find patterns? Are there some signs that are telling the same story or that are showing differences? Maybe that sounds a bit abstract, but I have an older example. that may help you to understand this process better. So a couple of years ago, I went to a graduation show of a design academy in Holland. And I saw the top pictures, objects, spinners, some kind of like children's toys. And I walked up to the designer and I asked like, what is this? Why did you make this? And she told me, yeah, I made like beautiful spinners from very, natural materials like wood and stone. Because I see all these adults and grown-ups being so stressed out, and I would really like them to relax more and be more in balance. So that's why I made these spinners. These are my project for them. They can use it at home when they come from their jobs back home and feel, kind of stressed, and release the tension. Okay, so then I walked the streets, and a couple of years ago, these stores were popping up in Amsterdam all the time, like barber shops where you could walk in. You didn't know how long the treatment will take, how long they will be grooming you. You just had to surrender to your barber and let him give you all the attention that he will give you. Okay, last example. I read a blog about nightclub owners in Amsterdam. They were telling that they were so irritated by their visitors because all the time they were putting a lot of effort in finding very interesting DJs and cool bands. And when they were in the club, they saw the visitors all standing with their backs to the DJ because they wanted to make pictures of themselves. And they said, that's not why we are in this nightlife business. We want people to really get into the moment. So what they did is they created stickers that you had to put on your phone camera. While you were waiting in line for the club, you were getting this sticker, and it says, no photos, enjoy the moment. So 3 examples of signs of change. So when you look at it from a very functional perspective, you see spinners, barbershop, sticker. But when you know the story behind these 3 signs, you probably see a pattern already emerging. They are telling the same story, although they have very different appearances. So when I analyze, I always like to take the human perspective and think about how would someone talk about their need after that relates to these signs. So this I would analyze along the lines of people want to wonder more, give attention more, feel more balanced, more in the moment. This is what it is emerging right now. This is maybe a growing trend. And then the last thing of the analysis phase is actually copywriting. So as a trend researcher, you really need to label your trends in a way that people get inspired and interested. They want to know more about it. And it also has to already show you something of what the trend is about. So this trend I called Wanderlust, and freeze time and see the extraordinary in the ordinary. And also visual language is very important. Try to find images that show the emotion behind these trends. Because the future is quite abstract, so you have to help other people experience this future too. And last but not least, we get into the apply phase, which is about, okay, nice, all this information, but how can I use it in a more business context or organizational context? Trend research will help you to open your scope much more and see much more signs of change than when you would start out with a focused mindset. So it's really, I think, a relevant addition to any innovation process to also integrate it into the whole cycle. A lot of people ask me like, okay, but there are so many trends. I just showed you one called Wanderlust, but there are so many things happening. Should I tap into every trend? Should I embrace every trend as an organization or brand? I think that wouldn't be very wise because it would make you a very schizophrenic brand with like all kinds of faces. But what to do then? Well, it helps at least to prioritize or select which of these trends you feel more closely to than others. So what you can do is, when you really understand the values behind these trends, you can match them. For instance, with your brand values, or you could match them with the values of your current consumers, or you could match them with, I don't know, industry kind of developments happening. Anything you would like to match it with. And you could also say like, okay, I'm choosing the very logical match, like maybe you are a brand already that could tap into Wanderlust very easily because it really links strongly to your current brand values. Or you could say, maybe it's not a very logical match for our brand, but it's a future I would like to get into. Maybe we want to move to that type of future, so maybe we should do something with it. For instance, think about it when you are a telecom brand, and actually what you need to do normally is like get people connected all the time and sell a lot of data. How could you tap into something like Wanderlust? Using this as a springboard for ideation can really help you to find unexpected angles and create unexpected strategies, communication and marketing, products and services. You can integrate it on all types of levels. So this was, in a nutshell, the whole trend research cycle. And I hope maybe some of it has inspired you to use some of the activities in your daily job too. And the last thing I would like to leave you with is, what will you do today to create your preferred future? Thank you very much.